Hey everyone, welcome back to It's Just Tech. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about the real world as we home more into what is coming into 2024 in the tech space. But I really think it's important to launch with these core foundations as this is a crazy year. Buckle up. So today we're going to talk about some thought-provoking topics as we did last week. From the German farmers standing up against their government to the challenges that we're still facing in California. But before we move further, if you enjoy this content and it sparks conversation, go ahead and hit that button so we can get some subscribers going on this channel as well. Thumbs up would be good too. Okay, so what I would show here is an image of the farmers. I've got one on the thumbnail, and there's just so many beautiful images as they're inviting people over to share their fire, sharing their food, creating community right in the middle of the town square, the literal town square, not in social media, but out in the real world where it's freezing cold right now, and they're experiencing record cold temperatures. So let's start again with those German farmers. They're making waves right now and standing up against rising gas prices and massive tax increases. By the way, what even happened to their pipeline? Did anybody come out and honestly declare? Although the whole world immediately knew. The government's focus on climate change restrictions, sending money overseas, prioritizing migrants has left many feeling neglected. In the heart of the city where Ronald Reagan once stood, these farmers are peacefully protesting. Just as Reagan had asked Gorbachev to take down the wall, in the background of these farmers' tractors, they're standing there and demanding freedom to be able to work, to earn, and contribute to society. These should be things that are normal for all of us. And yet, for some reason, these notions are still under attack. This is the 2020s. So again, I would show another clip here of the German farmers in protest peacefully gathering and sharing and saying, no, we're not looking for a reduction in taxes or a pause in taxes. At this point, we're looking for individuals who will truly represent us, a new government. They've set up makeshift communities with bathrooms, fire pits, and food, reminiscent of the Canadian truckers who rallied for freedom in equally tough conditions. It's a powerful display of resilience against government policies that seem to ignore the needs of everyday citizens, who, by the way, employ them. Their tax money employs them. So as we transition back to where we are here in Silicon Valley, that has been named the heart of Silicon Valley, we can shift our focus back to California, a state that is facing its own set of challenges. The pylons of our foundation are literally being pulled out from us. We often hear about the next big idea that threatens the state's well-being. In fact, we turn on the news and realize, wow, something else has been decided for us that we didn't get to vote on. And yet, no problem dipping in our pockets to take all our tax money. It's really crushing. As Californians, we find ourselves mocked for having an unconventional governor. And unconventional is a very kind word. And the craziness spreads as new policies surprise us day by day. As we don't have, is taken from us the jobs, the housing, utilities, insurance, healthcare. It's given to others, yet built to us to a point that the poverty line has moved, and it's moving not in a helpful direction. So here I would transition to a scene of social media and influence. In the area of social media, platforms like TikTok play a significant role in all these changes. The algorithm that promotes certain content, often mocking human pain and mental illness, raises questions. Learning about Sequoia Capital's involvement in funding social media platforms like TikTok, these platforms reveal the unique expressions of fluid feelings, we can call it, are being sponsored to promote the craziness. And then when somebody like you and I stands up and says, wait a minute, that's not real, that's not true, that's not our values, then we're mocked and attacked. Where does it take us? Where is it taking society? We can see it get launched right off a cliff. So the minority mob continues to attack. Here we are moving into 2024, and it hasn't slowed down. Fueled by unclear motives, creating a scenario that feels like a real life science project, or at least science fiction zombie scenario. The 2020s bring us a reality where standing against the crowd comes with consequences. And then if we look back into family and identity, the importance of family and identity can't be understated. Broken families contribute to the growth of depression across generations. And identity confusion becomes a dissonant note in the symphony of life. The rawness becomes the norm. And yet, if we go back at images of our families, pictures on the wall, generations in the same household, life is truly beautiful, and it's essential to celebrate those who contribute positively. Like the German farmers who feed the masses, that's what they do. They stand up for your values in schools, churches, and even in politics. So you need to stand up for your values as well. Last week we talked about identifying what your core values are, where your beliefs came from. Now, I will mention in putting these core details into the script, I use a GPT scenario, and I mentioned God 5 times. God has not come up one time in my script. When we take God out of the schools, God out of our conversations, push God out of our lives, we don't live in a secular world as we're told. We live in an anti-God world. And we can see what a world without God looks like. It's chaos, confusion. It's just the start to the path of evilness. Now, we all know the saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. A lot of these people are kind and caring. They want to spread rainbows and sunshine and cute puppy dogs and ice cream and give the whole world a hug. But you know where that hug comes from? Education and hard work and family foundations contribute into society, understanding your values and understanding that your words and your actions actually have consequences. For some reasons, the mud gets thrown in one direction and the minority takes over. Now, there's another comment that I had put in here, and I put this in several times, and it also keeps getting removed from the GPT scenario, the scripts that come up. The conversation around separation of church and state does not mean the church stays out of state, does not mean the church stays out of government. That's not what it was intended for. And we have the Constitution and the Bill of Rights to tell us that, in fact, separation of church and state means the government stays out of the church. The government does not tell us to compromise one step at a time. The government does not override God. All our rights are given from God, God-given rights. This is to protect the church that is there to protect the people. So as we navigate through these challenges, continue to turn your light on. Life is truly beautiful, and it's essential to celebrate those who contribute positively, like the German farmers who feed the masses, and the millions of us in California who continue to stand out and stand for our values. Teach our children truth and righteousness. Turn the lights on in the darkness. And let people know kindly that the path they're on is not only destructive for themselves, destroys their families, and is leading utter chaos into the community. So stand up for your values in schools, churches, your community, with your neighbors, even in your politics. You have a voice as well, and it needs to be heard. Shine your light. For the absence of light, darkness prevails. But light and darkness cannot be in the same space. As soon as the light goes on, darkness is gone. Be clear on your values, be clear with your words, and let it be known in the world. As we navigate through these challenges, remember that light and darkness do not coexist. Let's expose the truth, stand up for what we believe in, support, vote with your dollars. What you spend money on is going to continue. We've seen many examples of Bud Light and Target and many examples where when you pull your money, they start to listen. And bring back the simplicity of letting children be boys and girls be girls once again. Here I would play a clip of children playing, just having fun. The true innocence of childhood. So thanks again for joining me on this reflective journey. If you resonate with these thoughts and your perspective, put your perspectives in the comments. Start a discussion. Until next time, keep shining your light, stay true to your values, and let's create a world that celebrates the beauty of life. Whether you live in California like me, the heart of Silicon Valley's craziness, or you're standing up for the world in Germany or one of the other multiple countries around the world right now that is saying that is enough. Did you know that in 2024, there are 40 different major elections this year all over the planet where people get a chance to stand up and voice their opinion? And although so many are shoved over to the right, when they oppose the government, they're mocked, harmed, bank accounts seized. At what point did we become left and right? At what point did normal get shoved to the side? Let's create a world that we're proud of once again for our children. Let's enjoy the day-to-day ourselves. And let's spend time with our parents as we show gratitude for the world they created for us. Have a blessed evening.